A baby zebra, no more than a few hours old, stumbled blindly through a patch of tall grass, its tiny legs wobbling, its striped coat still damp and soft. It cried again, louder this time, searching for a mother who would never answer. Her herd had been chased the night before. In the chaos, she had been separated, and when the stampede thundered forward, she never rose again. The baby had survived only because he had fallen into a shallow ditch, unnoticed by predators. But now he was alone. The morning air carried danger in every direction. That was when she appeared that a wild African dog, lean and dust-covered, stepped into the clearing. Her name, what rangers later gave her, was Nia. She was a lone female, injured in a territorial fight a few months earlier, abandoned by her pack when she couldn't keep up. She had lost her own litter before they ever opened their eyes. A tragedy that had hollowed her until she wandered alone through the plains. Now she stood just a few feet from the shivering zebra foal. The baby froze, trembling. Nia lowered her head, ears pinned forward, studying him. Every instinct in the world said this moment should end with a kill. A hungry predator, a weak newborn. Nature's rules were simple, but something stopped her. The zebra foal let out a tiny, broken cry. The exact pitch, the exact helplessness that Nia had once heard from her own pups. Something ancient shifted inside her. Instead of lunging, she stepped closer, slowly, carefully, until her nose touched the baby's side. The foal flinched, expecting teeth. Instead, Nia licked him, once. Then again. Then she circled him the way a mother dog circles her newborns, checking for injuries, nudging his legs to encourage him to stand. The zebra stumbled against her chest, and Nia pressed her body close, warming him. It wasn't logic. It wasn't instinct. It was grief, love, and something impossible. By the end of the first hour, Nia had accepted the zebra as her own. For the rest of the day, she guarded him like a soldier, driving away vultures with aggressive barks and circling hyenas with a fury she shouldn't have survived. Rangers watching from a distance couldn't believe what they were seeing. A wild dog adopting prey? One whispered, "This shouldn't be real." But it was. The next days were a quiet miracle. Nia taught the foal, whom rangers named Kion, how to walk steadily. She nudged him when he drifted too far. At night, she curled her body around his tiny form, shielding him from cold winds and prowling predators. When lions passed nearby, Nia stood stiff and silent, placing herself between Kion and danger. She hunted small animals to keep up her strength, eating only after making sure the foal was safe. She worked herself to exhaustion protecting a baby she should have killed, but Kion didn't know any of that. In his mind, Nia was simply Mother. One afternoon, Kion wandered a little too far while exploring a patch of shrubs. A young jackal darted toward him, teeth bared. Before the rangers could even shout, Nia streaked across the clearing in a blur of dust and rage, snapping her jaws so loudly the jackal fled instantly. She paced around Kion for minutes afterward, whimpering anxiously, licking his ears until he calmed. Every ranger watching had the same thought. This wild dog would die before letting harm come to this zebra. But the savannah is never predictable. And on the sixth day, nature struck back in a way no one expected. It happened during a rare moment of stillness. The sun was low, the air warm, and Kion was awkwardly kicking at a low branch while Nia rested beside him. That was when a shadow moved across the earth, slow, heavy, unmistakable. A lioness, not just any lioness. A mother. Her ribs showed faintly under her coat. She hadn't eaten in days. She saw the baby zebra before she saw the dog. And when she finally saw Nia, the lioness didn't back down. Nia stood, hackles rising. Kion pressed himself against her hind leg, shaking violently. Rangers watching from far off gripped their binoculars. Knowing they could not interfere, the lioness stepped closer. Nia growled. The lioness growled back. It was a moment carved directly out of nature's laws. Predator against predator. The weak in the middle. Then the lioness lunged. Nia threw herself forward, teeth flashing, meeting the lioness head-on. The clash was brutal. Dust exploded into the air. Nia was smaller, weaker, but she fought like a creature who believed love could rewrite the world. She bit, dodged, clawed, spinning around the lioness's powerful swipes. But she was losing. The lioness pinned her. Kion screamed, a high, desperate sound that echoed across the plains. And then something happened no one, not rangers, not scientists, not nature itself, could explain. A second lioness appeared, not aggressive, not hunting. She walked calmly toward the baby zebra and nudged him gently away from the fight. She wasn't there to kill him. She was protecting him. What? What is happening? One ranger whispered, unable to believe his eyes. The second lioness stood guard over Kion, placing herself between him and the fight, blocking any path that might lead back into danger. Meanwhile, Nia, fueled by the zebra's cries, twisted free, slashing wildly, and managed to break from the lioness's hold. She didn't try to chase the predators away anymore. She ran straight to Kion. The two lionesses backed off together, almost as if they had come to a silent agreement. The zebra stays alive, and so does the dog. The rangers stood frozen. This was not hunting behavior. This was not territorial behavior. This was mercy. Nia collapsed beside Kion, trembling, panting, blood on her muzzle, but alive. Kion pressed his head against her, whimpering softly, for the first time in hours. The savannah fell silent. From that day on, the story spread through the sanctuary like legend. How a wild dog fought a lioness and lived. How a second lioness protected a zebra instead of killing it. How enemies behaved like guardians. But the real surprise came later. Weeks passed, and Kion grew stronger, running steadier, grazing on fresh shoots, learning the landscape. Nia watched over him tirelessly, but something else began to change. Kion wasn't just following Nia anymore. He was being followed by another group. A zebra herd. The first time they appeared, Kion froze, staring at them with wide eyes, sensing something familiar but strange. The herd sniffed the air cautiously. They recognized the scent of a zebra, but were confused by the scent of the dog beside him. Then an older female, the lead mare, stepped forward. She touched her muzzle gently to Kion's forehead. A greeting. An acceptance. Nia watched, chest rising and falling with a mix of pride and heartbreak. She knew. She always knew. Kion didn't belong to her world. He belonged to theirs. Still, she stood close, ready to fight anyone who tried to take him by force. But the herd didn't take him. They simply surrounded him, forming a protective circle, and Kion looked back at Nia. He walked halfway to the herd, then turned and ran back to her, burying his face in her neck. He wasn't ready. For days after that, Kion went back and forth, part of the herd, part of the dog's world. Nia was patient. She encouraged him with soft nudges. She watched him learn to graze properly. She nudged him when he forgot his instincts. She followed him when he returned to the herd, content to keep her distance as long as he felt safe. Finally, one morning, Kion walked confidently into the center of the zebra herd and didn't come back. Nia watched from a distance, tail lowered, but not in sadness. In understanding, the ranger beside her whispered, "Let him go, girl. You saved him. Now let him be who he was born to be." Kion turned one last time. Ears perked, and Nia barked. One quick, sharp bark. The same sound she used when calling him back as a baby. But this time, she wasn't calling him home. She was saying goodbye. The herd moved forward. Dust drifted. Kion trotted with the mares, his little stripes glowing in the morning sun. Nia stayed until they disappeared into the horizon. Then she walked away, slowly, quietly, back into the wild she belonged to. Weeks later, rangers still sometimes saw her watching the plains at sunset, as if expecting a striped shadow to appear again. And sometimes, one did. Kion would break from the herd, galloping over a ridge, stopping just close enough for their eyes to meet. Nia would bark softly. He would chirp back. Yes, zebras can make that sound too, though rarely. Then he would return to his herd, and Nia would return to her world. Two lives. Two species. One impossible bond. A wild dog who refused to be a predator. A zebra who survived because love rewrote nature's script. And a moment on the savannah that no one expected to witness. If this story moved you, hit like and subscribe for more emotional wildlife stories that remind us. Sometimes the wildest love comes from the most unexpected places.